Getting the stream started. Shabbat Shalom. All right, let me get this thing going. All right, so we are streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and Rumble. Let me make sure that that's all we have to do, and we are live on Jaw Radio at jawradio.org. All right, so many ways to listen to us here today. Shalom and welcome once again as we are here for yet another day as we look at another teaching. The teaching here today is double fold and single fold, double titles. Get your house in order. Are you walking in the Ruach to Zion? Are you walking in the Ruach to Zion? All right. Now, are you walking in the Ruach? Are you walking in the Ruach to Zion? Yeah. So, today we actually want to look at walking in the Ruach, what it means to us, and how many of us are really not walking in the Ruach, and we're going to look at how it is a prerequisite for our salvation, and that, as we have been saying for many weeks, many things to do with this. You see, the Bible is so manifold, so many things to it, that the important things, we don't pay attention to them. And one of the most important things we don't pay attention to are the things that are most important to us. And one of them is walking in the Ruach. The importance of walking in the Ruach. Very important. You will hear me say this. You might be, when you remember me, you remember this term. Very important. Very, very crucially important. Because most of us are in religion. Most of us are not walking in the way, thinking we are in the way. Let's look at our return to Zion, because Zion is the most important focus for us at this time. Mount Zion. Christians focus on their rapture, which is a deception. The truth is Zion, is keeping our focus on Zion, on going back to Mount Zion. It's the deliverance of our people, the return of our people to our land. That should be the most foremost and this is a problem for us. That is why when we say, flee out of the midst of Babylon, people start grumble. Why? Their focus is not on Zion. When we hear flee out of the midst of Babylon, we should be running. And I must confess that I was like this. When I heard about fleeing Babylon and the Most High said go back to where we were sent back to, I wasn't enthused because my focus was not on Zion. My focus was on serving Yahuwah in the land of my captivity. That was my focus. How to best serve the Most High. How to please Him where I was. But that's not what He wants. In the book of Isaiah 65 verse 11, He says, ye are they that forget my holy mountain. You forget Zion. And then He tells you what is going to happen to you if you forget Zion. So what pleases the Most High, what is the will of the Most High, is that we remember Zion. But we keep forgetting. The Doobie Brothers had a song so long ago. I keep forgetting, I keep forgetting. We keep forgetting Zion. We keep forgetting what is the most important thing for our focus at this particular time. All right? So let's remind us about our return to Zion. And that is in the book of Jeremiah 3. Let's start at 14 to 18, then we'll go 21 to 22. The book of Jeremiah, chapter 3, verse 14. This is where it's at, people. So people are there, staying in the midst of Babylon, thinking about religion, because we were given the Christian religion. When we came out of Christianity, we did not realize what the truth actually was. The truth is about who you are as a people and what happens to us and what the plan of the Most High is for us as a people. Jeremiah 3, verse 14. And it says, "Turn, O backsliding children, saith Yahuwah, for I am married unto you, and I will take you, one of a city and two of a family, and I will bring you to Zion." This is our focus. He says we are backsliding. Why? Because our fathers transgressed against him. But he says he's married unto us, which means he had made a covenant with Abraham, with Isaac, and with Jacob, that he will bring his seed back into the land and give them the land forever. That is what we look to. Yes? "I will take you, one of a city and two of a family, and will bring you to Zion." And we are going to look today again at how he will take us. "And I will give you pastors according to mine heart, which shall feed you with knowledge and understanding." Now, the end time pastors, if your end time pastor there means shepherd. We're not talking about the literal pastor, the Christian pastor in his gown and all of that. We're talking about a shepherd, someone who will be leading you, someone who will be teaching you. The Most High says, in bringing us back to Zion, he will give us pastors according to his heart. Now, who are these pastors, or what will these pastors speak about according to Yahuwah's heart? If your pastor is not speaking about you going to Zion, that is a false teacher. The Most High says he will give us pastors according to his heart. In the previous verse, he says he will bring us back to Zion. So if your teacher is not preaching going back to Zion, then you are in a problem. Because most of the preachers in the West, they are actually teaching you to stay where you are. We are going to also look at how the Most High will gather us to show you that the plethora of teachers that you are listening today are false teachers. We do not say we are true teachers, but we can tell you who are false. And how can you tell who are false? By those who do not conform to the word of the Most High, because the word bears witness to us. If we are not speaking according to the word, hey, Isaiah 8 verse 20, what does it say? "To the law and to the testimony, if they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them." And we have the testimony of Yahusha, so we are speaking according to his testimony. Verse 15, "And I will give you pastors according to mine heart, which shall feed you with knowledge and understanding. And it shall come to pass, when ye be multiplied." So these pastors are going to feed you with knowledge and understanding. Knowledge and understanding of what? Of everything, of how to get back to Zion. Because that is what this teaching is today. How to get back to Zion, and how the Most High directs us to Zion. "And it shall come to pass, when ye be multiplied and increased in the land in those days, saith Yahuwah, they shall say no more, the ark of the covenant of Yahuwah. Neither shall it come to mind, neither shall they remember it, neither shall they visit it, neither shall that be done any more. At that time they shall call Jerusalem the throne of Yahuwah, and all the nations shall be gathered unto it, to the name of Yahuwah, to Jerusalem. Neither shall they walk any more after the imagination of their evil heart." So they will be walking in righteousness. This is another cue right here. To get back to Zion, our hearts have to be totally transformed. Totally transformed. So we have to come out of Babylon physically and spiritually. "In those days, the house of Yehudah shall walk with the house of Yasharal, and they shall come together out of the land of the north, To the land which I have given for an inheritance unto your fathers. People, look at this very carefully. You see this? I want you to go, when you're by yourself, go and read from verses 14 to 18. The house of Judah shall walk with the house of Yasharal, and they shall come together. How shall they come? Because there are people who are preaching and teaching that you should wait in Babylon for the Most High to come to you. They shall come together out of the land of the north, out of Babylon, to the land that I have given for an inheritance unto your fathers. So if your teacher, your pastor is not focused on the land, on you returning to the land, then I'm sorry for you. What else can I say? Okay? So that is our return to Zion. But we have to understand that the unrighteous cannot enter into this land. 1 Corinthians 6:9. Know ye not that the unrighteous shall not inherit the kingdom of Alua? The unrighteous shall not inherit the kingdom of Alua. So, although our faces are focused on Zion, yes, the question is, am I focused also on righteousness? Because there are people who are focused on Zion, but righteousness is the least of their concerns. Righteousness is the least of their concerns. They're just, oh, I want to go back to the land. Oh, I want to flee Babylon. Oh, I want... Where is the righteousness? The unrighteous cannot enter into the kingdom. That is why it says in Ezekiel chapter 20, verses 33 onwards, he says that he will take you out of the land where you are scattered. Let me go there, Ezekiel 20. And you will see us use this every other few weeks. Ezekiel 20, 33. As I live, saith Yahuwah Alua, surely with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with fury poured out will I rule over you. And I will bring you out from the people, and will gather you out of the countries wherein ye are scattered, with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with fury poured out. And I will bring you into the wilderness of the people, and there will I plead with you face to face. Now here it becomes a call of us qualifying, a qualifying factor. Like as I pleaded with your fathers in the wilderness in the land of Egypt, so will I plead with you, saith Yahuwah, Alua, and I will cause you to pass under the rod, and I will bring you into the bond of the covenant. Now here's the verse that we want. You have to focus on righteousness, people, because you will even be taken out of the land, and you will be purged out. And I will purge out from among you the rebels, and them that transgress against me. I will bring them forth out of the country where they sojourn, and they shall not enter into the land of Yasharal. And ye shall know that I am Yahuwah. That is when you're going to start honoring the Most High as the all-powerful one who does not play. But we tell you from even before you, the group here will hear from me, Yahuwah does not play. He does not play. There's no one to play with. This is not God. This is not your Christian God. Yahuwah does not play. So the unrighteous cannot enter into his kingdom. 1 Corinthians 6:11. And such were some of you, but ye are washed, but ye are sanctified, but ye are justified in the name of the Master Yahusha and by the Ruach of our Alua. So we were sinful. We were like fornicators, idolaters, adulterers. But it says, such were some of you. That means that should be of the past. Those things should be behind us. Now, in the name of Yahusha, we are sanctified and justified, which means we should be walking in perfection before the Most High. So, if the unrighteous cannot enter the kingdom, yes, and since we need to return to Zion, it means that first we have to overcome sin. We have to overcome the law of sin and death. Now, we say overcome sin, but we are going deeper than just say sin, because everybody says every day, oh, you have to overcome sin to be saved. We are going deeper to show you what you actually need to overcome in your own self before you can even look outward. Because we here, when we become believers, if you notice something online especially, when people become believers, all of a sudden they jump on their war horses and start chastising people. That's what we did. Jumped on our war horses and tried to start chastising people for not doing this. One of the most popular things, oh, Jesus Christ is not his name. That is not his name. His name is Yahuwah. His name is this and that. And we pour down wrath on people because they do not see what we see. But there is a deeper thing to sin than just the outward. We have to look inward. And so, instead of saying we have to overcome sin, we have to overcome the law of sin and death. So let's look at more depth at Romans 7:14 to 25. Romans 7:14. For we know that the law is spiritual, but I am carnal, sold under sin. I am carnal, sold under sin. For that which I do, I allow not. For what I would, that do I not. But what I hate, that do I. Shaul was explaining to us a human trait in which, and we know it as believers as well. So many times as believers, we say, oh, we fail, we fail. Why do we fail? Because we're just concentrating, oh, we have to overcome sin. We are not concentrating on the law of sin and death. We are not concentrating that there is something built into us that when we want to do that which is right, that is going to present itself to us to let us do wrong. This is why we struggle. And we're going to go to the bottom of it, of how to overcome it. Yeah? So, I am carnal, sold under sin. Sold under sin where? Sold under sin from the sin of Adam. When it was pronounced on Adam, in the day that thou sinned, thou shalt surely die. And when he sinned, death was pronounced on him, and death was pronounced on his generations that were to come, including us after him. So we are sold under sin, because sin leads us to death. So there is something in us, that which I do, I allow not. For what I would, that I do I not. But what I hate, that do I. So we actually do what we hate, instead of doing that which we know is right. If then I do that which I would not, I consent unto the law, that it is good. Because if I am doing that which I do not want to do, I am consenting that the law is good, because the law is right in telling me not to do it. The only problem is, I don't know how to do it, because of the law of sin and death that is in me, that is willing me to do that which is wrong. Now then, it is no more I that do it, but sin that dwelleth in me. So consciously, within my mind, I don't want to do wrong. But sin inside of me is willing me to do that which is wrong. So we have a kind of paradox here. Verse 18. For I know that in me, that is in my flesh, and notice he specified, in my flesh. This sin dwells in the flesh. For I know that in me, that is in my flesh, dwelleth no good thing. For to will is present with me, but how to perform that which is good I find not. So I want to do that which is good, but I don't know how to do it. For the good that I would, I do not, but the evil which I would not, that I do. How many times have we come upon this? And as believers today, if this is where we are still, get your house in order. Now, if I do that I would not, it is no more I that do it, but sin that dwelleth in me. How far did I say I was going? 25. I find then a law, that when I would do good, evil is present with me. That is an unwritten law inside of us. When I want to do good, evil is present with me. And if you go into the book, The Shepherd of Hermas, that is the two angels, the angels of righteousness and the angel of iniquity. In the Shepherd of Hermas, it explains it that there are two angels with man, the angel of righteousness and the angel of iniquity. The angel of righteousness will tell you there's a soft voice, that is your conscience, that is telling you to do good. But right there beside it, there is another voice, which is the angel of iniquity, that is telling you to do that which is wrong. So if somebody angers you, that angel of iniquity is saying to you, man, kill him. You got to hurt him. To get your satisfaction, you got to do something. And the angel of righteousness is saying, oh no, forgive him. Just let it slide. You have those two voices inside of you. Many people, when they have conflicts, they have those two voices, and they're there. Some people, the one who is able to listen to the angel of righteousness and says, take a deep breath, and he'll say, you know what? Leave it alone. That one will walk safely in righteousness. The other one is going to get in trouble and might get himself killed. All right? For I delight in the law of Alua after the inward man. Let me read from 21. I find then a law, that when I would do good, evil is present with me. For I delight in the law of Alua after the inward man. There we go. The inward there is referring to what? The conscience. So in my conscience, in my mind, in my conscience, I delight in the law of Alua. But guess what? Verse 23. But I see another law in my members. What is my members? My body. There is another law. So he's speaking there in 22 of his mind, his conscience. And then in 23, law in my members, it's in his body. So this is the battle of the mind and the flesh, the mind and the body. But I see another law in my members, warring against the law of my mind and bringing me into captivity to the law of sin, which is in my members. That there is so, I have to tell you, the Shaul is so intelligent. I don't know this man here. So what he's saying is that this, in his mind, as believers, in our minds, we want to serve the Most High. We would walk in perfection before the Most High right now if most of us knew how to do it. But our body, our flesh is stopping us, because our flesh is actually bringing us into captivity to it, trying to let us bow to it. So the flesh, our body, always sends out desires, lusts, needs, wants, whatever. Always sends out those things to cloud up and to overpower our conscience. So when our conscience tells us to do something, the body, the flesh says, but I need to do this, but I want this, but. And then when you take heed to that but, you are brought into captivity to the law of sin which is in you, because right away when you go into the flesh, you have gone into sin. Because your decision is not going to be made based on your conscience. It's going to be made according to your desire, which goes against your conscience. That is why the two greatest commandments is loving Yahuwah with all our hearts, minds, and soul, and loving our neighbors as ourselves. When we love our neighbors as ourselves and love Yahuwah with all our heart, then the conscience will rule. Because the conscience will make the decision based on the love of Yahuwah and the love of man, not on the love of me, myself, and I. That is why Hamashiach said, if any man come after me, let him do what? Deny himself. If you deny yourself, you do not give the self any chance to overpower the Ruach. So you cannot walk in the Ruach unless you deny yourself. I'm telling you this. There are believers who come to me time and time again. Some of them come to me, I just tell them one thing: deny yourself. Matthew 16:24. Matthew 16:24. Sometimes they come to me over and over again. I say, Matthew 16:24. That is the key. Denying yourself suppresses the law of sin that is in you, because you will not be making provision for the self. If you do not deny yourself, the self will be making provision for itself, and hence you are going to go into sin, and you are going to bring your conscience into captivity to the desires of your flesh. But I see another law in my members, warring against the law of my mind, and bringing me into captivity to the law of sin which is in my members. O wretched man that I am, who shall deliver me from the body of this death? I thank Allah through Yahushua HaMashiach, our master. This is the key. So then, with the mind, I myself serve the law of Allah, but with the flesh, the law of sin. So, if Yahushua HaMashiach is not leading us, then we are going to serve the law of sin. But if he is leading us, we will be able to serve the law of Yahuwah. That's the two choices that we have. All right, let's go. So, we must walk in the spirit of life that is in Hamashiach. We must walk in the Ruach of life in Hamashiach. Romans 8, verse 1. If we are not walking in the Ruach of life that is in Hamashiach, we are going to be walking after the flesh. We are going to be walking led by the desires of the flesh, which of course will be leading us into sin. Romans 8, verse 1. There is therefore no condemnation to them which are in Hamashiach Yahusha, who walk not after the flesh, but after the Ruach. So when you are in Hamashiach, you will walk after the Ruach. How do you walk after the Ruach? I think we're going to look at it further. I won't break it down any deeper than that. But you will be walking after the desires and walking, being led by the desires of the things of the Ruach. For the law of the Ruach of life in Hamashiach, Yahusha, hath made me free from the law of sin and death. Very important understanding again here. The law of the Ruach of life in Hamashiach Yahusha hath made me free from the law of sin and death. Now, the law of sin and death is in our flesh. The Ruach of life in Hamashiach is faith, believing in Hamashiach, walking as he walked, obeying his commandments, which will lead us to have a good conscience. When we have a good conscience and we reject the flesh and walk as Hamashiach walked, then we will be walking in the Spirit. And if we walk in the Spirit, we'll be walking in the Ruach of life, because the Spirit brings life. The flesh brings you to death, the Ruach brings you to life. So if you are walking in the likeness of Hamashiach, then you will be free from the law of sin and death. Your fleshly desires, your carnal desires will not weigh you down, will not be ruling you. When Hamashiach was here, he was not led by his carnal nature. He was led by the Ruach of Yahuwah, which he has given unto us, so that we too can follow into his footsteps and walk in newness of life and walk in righteousness, not under the yoke of bondage of the law of sin and death. And the law of sin and death, as it relates to the law, we're going to look at it later as well. And if Hamashiach, verse 10 says, and if Hamashiach be in you, the body is dead because of sin, but the Ruach is life because of righteousness. What does that mean? How does that relate to Romans 8, 1-2? The body is dead because of sin. When you're in sin, you're dead. Okay? Two things to it. When you are in sin, you are dead. But when you are in Hamashiach, the body is dead, meaning the body has no life to rule you. So the body is dead because of sin, because the wages of sin is death. But the Ruach of life of in Yahushua HaMashiach is what is leading that dead body and leading that dead body, we will be walking in the Ruach of life. So our conscience, let's go back to when we say spirit, it's better we say the conscience. You get more understanding. So the conscience will be leading us through our spiritual connection with Yahushua HaMashiach, which will give us a good conscience, which will enable us to rule this unruly, sinful, demanding body. So this body will not be driving us, will not be leading us, will not be bringing us into sin and bringing us into his desires, and will not be dictating to us, because Yahushua HaMashiach will be ruling this body through the Ruach of life that he gave us. All right. Hey boy. People who are in the chat, please, I am seeing the chat. When you're writing in the chat, sometimes some of the things kind of distracting at times. But then it's up to me not to ignore it anyway, because I need to look back on it so that I can comment on it. So let me not look at the chat. It's right beside me, and every minute I see it, it distracts me. But anyway, let me continue. So if we are led by the Most High, this is very important now. If we have the Ruach of life that is in our Mashiach, we are going to be led by the Most High. But if we are led by the Most High, then he will quicken our dead bodies. We just spoke about the body being dead, being led by the Ruach. Dead in sin, but dead in that it does not have the life, but dead in the fact that it does not have the life to actually be leading us. Yes? So what do? When we are led by the Most High, he will quicken our sinful bodies by his Ruach. We're going to connect this to Zion, because this is how we are doing our teachings now. Connect. Connect things that most people will not connect, but connecting things that the Most High has revealed to us. Romans 8:11. But if the Ruach of him that raised up Yahusha from the dead dwell in you, and that is the same Ruach, the Ruach Mashiach is the same Ruach of Yahuwah. If the Ruach of him that raised up Yahusha from the dead dwell in you, he that raised up Hamashiach from the dead shall also quicken your mortal bodies by his Ruach that dwelleth in you. This is it. If this Ruach dwells in you, he will, quicken means to bring to life. He will bring to life your dead bodies, that sinful, dead in sin body. He will bring it to life. What does it mean to bring a sinful body to life, being led by the Ruach? It means that whatever we are to do, the Most High, and we're going to see that connection later with the Ruach Mashiach, the Most High is going to be directly connected to us through the Ruach Mashiach. And so he can now lead our dead bodies unto righteousness, unto life eternal. And most important for this teaching today, lead us on the way to Zion. You see, these that we are speaking about, Ruach HaKadosh was not given when the children of Yasharal were leaving Egypt. Let me say it again. When the children of Yasharal were leaving Egypt, the Ruach was not freely given. Let's go to, John 7:37. Let's go to John 37 for that. John 7:37. Let's add 36. 37. In the last day, that great day of the feast, Yahusha stood and cried, saying, If any man thirst, let him come unto me and drink. He that believeth on me, as the scripture hath said, out of his belly shall flow rivers of living water. But this spake he of the Ruach, which they that believe on him should receive. For Ruach HaKadosh was not yet given, because that Yahusha was not yet exalted. Let me tell you something, people. Our people here at this time, in this age, is living in delusion. When the children of Yashrael came out of the wilderness, Ruach HaKadosh was not yet given. because Yahushua HaMashiach was not yet manifested on the earth. When Yahushua HaMashiach is manifested on the earth, we are given now his Ruach, and we do not need, that is why, no. This one just came to me. Yeah. That is why Yahukanan said in 1 John 2:27, but the anointing which ye have received of him abide in you. This is Ruach HaKadosh. This is after Hamashiach. We receive the anointing of Ruach HaKadosh. What happens now? And ye need not that any man teach you. And many people look at this to say, oh, you won't need any teachers. That's not what it means. It means a similar thing to the situation that we're talking about. When it's time for you to leave Babylon, when it's time for the Most High to gather you, you have no need that no man come to you and tell you when to gather, what to gather. He will send his shepherds according to his own heart, and they will speak to you. And if the Ruach is in you, the same Ruach that is in the shepherds is in you, they will connect to you and bring to your remembrance, and you will realize just what you need to do. But as the same anointing teacheth you of all things, and is truth, and is no lie, and even as it hath taught you, ye shall abide in him. It is this anointing, people, that is going to lead you. Let me get back to where I was, because this world is a world of lies, and the word is right there before us, but we continue to reject the word because we love the world. We love the world, so we reject the truth of the word. You see, because I don't love the world, you can hear the truth from me. Yes? My focus is on Zion. If the teacher's focus is not on Zion, it does not go according to Jeremiah 3:14 to 18. His focus has to be on Zion. All right. Now, the Most High will quicken our mortal bodies. Yeah, we got that. Our dead bodies. But sadly, there are very few people who are walking in the Ruach. That is why people do not want to flee out of the midst of Babylon. Because there are few people who are walking in the Ruach. So people are walking in the flesh. When you walk in the flesh, guess what? You go after the desires of the flesh, because this will be leading you on to satisfy it with the things of this world, and you will be carnal, and you will not be led by the Ruach of Hamashiach. And if you are not led by the Ruach of Hamashiach, how can you have a desire to come out of Babylon? This is what cements you in Babylon. This and its desires. That's what cements you in Babylon. If you can get over this, then you are out. It will take nothing to come out. When the Most High told me to come out, hey, I never knew what time he wanted me to come out, so I was dilly-dallying. And then he said, hey, move. And when he said move, did it take me any time to move? No, because what? I don't love the world. I just give up myself to be led by the Most High. That's it. And if you don't give up yourself to be led by the Most High, then you are going to be led by the devil. Very simple. So only those who do not walk after the flesh can walk in the righteousness of the law. Now, remember the law. There is a law of sin and death, and there is the righteousness that is in the law. Remember, is the law sin? A law forbid. The law shows forth righteousness. But it is us, our response to the law, because of this ruling us, our response to the law is to do that which we do not want to do. Verse 3 of Romans 8. For what the law could not do, in that it was weak through the flesh, Alua sending his son in the likeness of sinful flesh, and for sin condemned sin in the flesh. So this sinful man who came in sinful flesh was able to condemn sin in the flesh by walking out perfectly the righteousness that is in the Torah. And so he gives us an example, the example of how to walk out the Torah without sinning. And so he shows us how to overcome this and its response to the Torah. That the righteousness of the law might be fulfilled in us who walk not after the flesh, but after the Ruach. Therefore, there are people out there talking about the law. You cannot walk out the righteousness that is in the law unless you are walking after the Ruach. Unless the Ruach is leading you. Otherwise, this will be feeding itself and telling you, when you hear, thou shalt not kill, I say, yes, man, thou shalt not kill, but you know it would be a good thing to kill him. That's how this works. That is the voice inside of us that is telling us to do that which we know we should not do. One of the things that I use the most is cheating. It's one of the best examples of it. Yes, people cheating on their partners. Yeah? They know that they must not do it. But when the occasion comes in, there is something inside of them that appeals. It says, do not sin, do not commit adultery, do not commit fornication. But there is something inside of you that makes it so appealing because it feels thrilling to cheat. And that is why some people steal as well. Some people steal not because they need it, but because of the thrill of stealing. It is that something inside of them that's saying, oh, they say you must not steal it, but let's see if you can do it. Yeah, man, I can do it. And for the sake of victory, for the sake of vain things, and I say it all the while, I had brethren that used to work in the hotel. And they used to just take out spoons, forks, knives, and things out of the hotel. And then they would laugh. That would be their fun. They don't want it. And they just take it out and they will come and just give it to people. Oh, you want a spoon? You want a... They just wanted the victory. That is the law of sin in them that is letting them do that which they know that they should not do. They know that if they catch them, they're going to lose their jobs. But for one spoon, they are willing to lose their jobs. Why? The law of sin is saying, take the risk. Yes? So when we walk after the Ruach, then we are able to overcome that temptation. When we are walking after the Ruach now, then we can live a life where we do not sin, we do not cheat, we do not steal. Verse 5, for they that are after the flesh do mind the things of the flesh, but they that are after the Ruach, the things of the Ruach. So when we walk after the flesh, we are going to mind the things of the flesh. So we are going to, when this is leading us, when the body is going to lead us, we are going to start thinking all sorts of things. How can I satisfy this body? You know what? I need some new clothes. And you just go down with some money. You just buy, so you get some money, you just buy some clothes. Yes? Going after the desires of the flesh. You don't need it. Because you might go to the place and buy the clothing, and then 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you have the clothing put up there. Those in the United States know what I'm talking about. Your stuff that you have. You just buy it and you just put it down. You might be feeling unhappy. And you say, you know what? Let me go get go shopping. And you go shopping and buy all sorts of crap that you do not need. That is, when you are after the flesh, you are going to mind the things of the flesh. But when you are after the Ruach, you are going to mind the things of the Ruach. So, those of us now who are focused in Zion are those who are after the Ruach. If you're not after the Ruach, you're going to be focusing on all your things in this world. Oh, I need to do this and that, and I need to do this in this world and this and that and that. But when you are after the Ruach, you're willing to give up on the things of the flesh. Why do you think most people cannot give up this world and seek out the Most High in righteousness? Why? Because they are led by the minding the things of the flesh. When we are minding the things of the Ruach, we do not care about any of the things of the flesh in this world. Anyway. And the reason most of us mind the things of the flesh, and there are few people who are walking in the Ruach and minding the things of the Ruach, is because most of us are carnally minded. By default, we are carnal. Because by default, we inherited the penalty of sin from Adam. We now have to turn our lives around. We have to consciously turn ourselves around, or else we will be constantly walking in what? In sin. We have to consciously turn ourselves around because we are carnal. Romans 8 verse 5. For they that are after the flesh do mind the things of the flesh, but they that are after the Ruach, the things of the Ruach. For to be carnally minded is death. No. To be carnally minded, verse 6, is showing you that if you are minding the things of the flesh, you are carnally minded. If the things that pertain to this is what concern you, yeah? Get your house in order. You have to learn to focus on the things of the Ruach. What happens in this world and what the cares of this life and the lust of the flesh, lust of the eyes, pride of life, and how I succeed in this world, and what happens in school and work, and this and that and that. For to be carnally minded is death. To be carnally minded, oh, this thing is going too far. To be carnally minded is death. But to be spiritually minded is life and peace. Spiritually minded means walking in the likeness of Yahushua HaMashiach, who says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. And he is also the Prince of Shalom, the Prince of Peace. If you are spiritually minded, walking in Yahushua HaMashiach, in the spirit of life, or the Ruach of life that is in HaMashiach, you will be walking in life and peace. And if you are walking in life and peace, your face will be focused on Zion, because that is where life is for our people. But if you are focused on things of this world, you're not going to care about Zion. That is why we don't argue with people. We pity them. Getting more and more understanding. I don't argue with people who refuse to flee out of Babylon and refuse to let go of their carnal lives. They're just sorry for them and what awaits them. Because to be carnally minded is death. To be spiritually minded is life and shalom. Because the carnal mind is enmity against the Lord. There we go. It gets even worse. It gets even worse. If we are carnally minded, which means if we are focused on this, if the law of sin and death is leading us, then it says we are enemies of the Most High. How many believers do you think are seeking the Most High, being carnally minded, thinking that they are in line with the Most High, waiting for Yahushua to return with their carnal minds? You see why we have to dig to the depths of this? Waiting with their carnal minds, thinking that Yahushua is going to come and pick them up. But it says to be carnally minded is enmity. If you're not focused on Zion, your mind is carnal. Because there's a competition between Zion and Babylon. Two ways, Babylon or Zion. And if you're still focused on Babylon, that means you're focused on the way and the things of this world. And that is death. For it is not, because the carnal mind is enmity against Alua, for it is not subject to the law of Alua, it neither indeed can be. So you cannot be subject to the law of Alua. Why? Because you are going to be subject to the law of sin and death. And when you are subject to the law of sin and death, this rules, Satan rules this body. Whenever you cannot be subject to the law of Alua, you're going to be subject to the law of Hasatan. So then, they that are in the flesh cannot please Alua. They that are in the flesh cannot please Alua. So if you are led by the law of sin and death, if you are still walking in sin, if you are still struggling, let me tell you something, people. As believers, we will transgress. 1 John 2 verse 1 says, I beseech ye, brethren, that ye sin not. And if any man sin, we have an advocate with the Father, Yahushua HaMashiach, the righteous. So, and he's the propitiation for our sins, and not for ours only, but also the sins of the whole world. So, we have an advocate when we sin. But we should not be held down by any sin. We should not be held down battling any sin, because if that is so, that means we are being led by the law of sin and death. That means we are carnally minded. That means we are enemy to the Most High, and that means we cannot please the Most High. So how do we say we are believers? Get your house in order. And the getting your house in order is very relevant here, because most of us are sleeping and living a very casual life, living a laid-back life, thinking, oh, we'll get it right someday. Yeah, we'll get it right. Not making any efforts to make any real change, to totally change, because the word says, if any man be in Hamashiach, he's a what? New creature. All things are passed away. Behold, all things have become new. Everything is supposed to come new. But everything cannot come new because what? We refuse to deny ourselves. So the old man of sin, the law of sin and death is ruling us. Because the only way to overcome the law of sin and death that is in us, the only way to start to overcome it is to deny ourselves. As long as we deny ourselves, it will have not any control over us, because we will not regard the wants, even the needs and the desires of this flesh. We will just rubbish it aside. And what will we be focused on? Doing the will of the Most High, loving our neighbors as ourselves, doing good to our fellow man, putting ourselves second, third, fourth, fifth, last. If we don't do that, verse 8 says, so then they that are in the flesh cannot please Alua. Now last week we spoke about Emunah. And when we spoke about Emunah, we said that without Emunah it is impossible to please Alua. So look at the connection here. Romans 8:8 says that they that are in the flesh cannot please Alua. Hebrews 11:6 says, but without faith it is impossible to please him, which tells you that a key attribute, a key component of us being able to walk in the Spirit, as we showed last week, is that we have Emunah. If we don't have Emunah, we are going to cling to the desires and the needs of the flesh, and we are going to be walking subject to the law of sin and death that is in us. But we are righteous through Emunah, and through Emunah in Yahushua HaMashiach, we will be able to walk in the law of the spirit of life that is in HaMashiach through Emunah. So those that are in the flesh are lacking in Emunah. And people like to say, as we said last week, oh, I have Emunah. But everyone has Emunah. Even as we always like to use the chair, if you go inside here and you sit on a chair, that is Emunah. Even sinners have Emunah. But the Emunah we are speaking about is the Emunah of Yahusha. In Romans, is it Revelation? In the book of Revelation 14:12, it tells us, here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of Alua and the faith of Yahusha. These are the saints. The faith of Yahusha is living our lives in the likeness of the life of Hamashiach Yahusha. That is how you overcome the law of sin and death that is in you. If you are not walking after the likeness of Yahusha, your sinful nature, your sinful body, the law of sin is going to be leading you unto death and leading you to be carnal and lead you to be enemy with the Most High and lead you to not be able to please the Most High. And being carnally minded and in the flesh, we therefore cannot have the spirit of Messiah. That's what I just said. We cannot have it. Romans 8:9. But ye are not in the flesh, but in the Ruach. If so be that the Ruach of Alua dwell in you. Now, if any man have not the Ruach of Hamashiach, he is none of his. So if we do not have that Ruach of Hamashiach in us, and that Ruach of Hamashiach in us, by the way, is the Most High having that connection to us to direct us and lead us and guide us. When we are to flee out of Babylon, do you think it's any man that's going to come to us? It's the Ruach HaMashiach, and we're going to show you. That's going to speak to us. People are there waiting for a man or some big announcement, okay? Panaptanaptana. Welcome to the second Exodus. This is an announcement from Yahuwah Sabaoth. The second Exodus is about to take place, and we are gathering you in Babylon, and no such thing. The Ruach in us is going to speak to us in our minds and in our conscience and lead us and tell us what to do. He's going to have chosen people who he chooses to instruct the people and tell them what to do. That's how the Most High has worked from the Old Testament to the New Testament to now. Only that in the New Testament, it is the Ruach in our conscience. So when the person speaks, it will reach to our ears, and through our ears, it will go in our minds, in our conscience, and then we, through our conscience, will be able to make the decision based on what is in our conscience. That's how it works. So nobody has to tell you anything. You just hear something and say, you just feel convicted. No, man. No, I have to do this. It's the conscience. It's that Ruach in you. So if you do not have this Ruach of Hamashiach, which means if the law of sin and death is ruling you, if you are carnal, then you will not have the Ruach of Hamashiach. So, it says you will not have the Ruach Hamashiach. What does it mean to have the Spirit of the Messiah? What does it mean to have the Ruach of Hamashiach? That verse there, if any man hath not the Ruach Mashiach, he is none of his. What does it mean to have the Ruach Mashiach? Who has the Ruach Mashiach? How can you know if you have the Ruach Mashiach? John 14, 21 to 26. Yahukanan, chapter 14, 21 to 26. I think I used this last week, didn't I? Did I? He that hath my commandments and keepeth them, he it is that loveth me. And he that loveth me shall be loved of my Father, and I will love him, and will manifest myself to him. Having the Ruach Mashiach begins with obedience to his commandments, obedience to his word. If we obey his word, he said it is a manifestation that we love him. If we love him, then the Father will love us. Then if the Father loves us, then the Messiah will love us and will manifest himself to us. This is what it means to have the Ruach Mashiach. If you are not in obedience to the Messiah, which proves your love to him, obeying his commandments, then the Father will not love you. If the Father does not love you, the Son will not love you and will not manifest himself to you, which means the things that you need to know, the things that you need to hear, you will not hear them from him. And when his set apart people are speaking his words of truth, you will not be able to understand nor to take it, because he will not manifest to you. Because when I speak, someone who has the Ruach, the Messiah will have to allow that person for what I speak to be manifested to him. If the Messiah does not give permission, what I speak will be a bag of garbage. Because that person who is receiving it is not qualified, because he does not obey the Son, and the Father does not love him, and the Son does not love him, and the Son has not manifested himself unto him. That is why you have so many people on the internet, they're going around and all they do is go around and grumble and quarrel with people and argue with people. When you have the Ruach Mashiach, you will know when the Ruach is speaking. Let me continue. Yahudah said unto him, not Iscariot. This may be Jude, Messiah's brother. Master, how is it that you will manifest thyself unto us and not unto the world? Yahusha answered and said unto him, here we go again, more insights now into what it means to have the Ruach Mashiach. If a man love me, he will keep my words. You see that qualification again? It all begins with keeping his words. It all begins with following after Mashiach. So those people today in religion, hey, Christians who follow a false version of a Mashiach and do not keep the words of a Mashiach. The Hebrew Israelites who follow a false version they call Yahweh and do not follow the true scriptural Mashiach, telling us that they won't turn the other cheek, telling us that they are not loving any enemy. That means you are not keeping the words of Mashiach. And if you are not keeping the words of Mashiach, that is why they cannot understand what we say. When they hear us speaking, they will laugh at us. Because it does not match up with their doctrine. It sounds like foolishness to them. Just as though what they are saying, we can pick the sense and pick the foolishness out of what they are saying, because they are not led by Hamashiach. Let me begin again. 23. Yahusha answered and said unto him, if a man love me, he will keep my words. That's where it all begins. That's how you have the Ruach Mashiach. And my Father will love him. Man, he said it again. He repeated it. And we will come unto him and make our abode with him. That abode there means we will dwell with him. That is what it means to have the Ruach Mashiach. Giving you a little time for you to look into it. The word abode there means, it's monē, the Greek monē, it means a staying. That is residence, the act or the place. We will make our abode with him. We will dwell, we will live with him. So if anyone asks you, what does it mean to have the Ruach Mashiach? Go to, the best place to go is John 14:23. It begins with obedience, my people. He that loveth me not, keepeth not my sayings. So if we reject his word, the Messiah is saying, you don't love me. So when the Hebrew Israelites saying, turn which other cheek? I'm not going to turn any other cheek. If you slap me, I'm going to slap you back, man. When they say that, that is that they don't love Hamashiach. Yes? When they are there looking on people's wives and lusting after people's wives, piling on, talking about multiple wives at this time. At a time now when we should be shedding in order to walk in the Ruach, they are adding flesh, adding carnality, going after people's wives, lusting after people's wives. If you have your wife, you should be satisfied with your wife. Why do you need to want to pile on other wives? If you pile on other wives, you are going to be in danger of what Hamashiach said. If any man look on a woman with desire, he has committed adultery already. You're going to be looking on woman after woman after woman with desires. You're going to sin. So the Hebrew Israelites, they don't love Yahusha. And what's the difference? Yahweh and Yahusha. There's a big difference. Yahusha is totally different from Yahweh. And the word which ye hear is not mine, but the Father's which sent me. So hear this now. When Yahusha was hearing, he heard from the Father. The Father spoke to him, he heard, and he spoke. Now we have the Ruach Mashiach in us. The Father is going to speak to Yahusha through the same Ruach, and Yahusha is going to speak to us through the Ruach, and we are going to hear and we are going to speak. That is how we come out of Babylon. The Father is going to instruct us in our minds and say, hey, move, time to leave. And the Ruach will instruct us, and that's simple how it is. It's so simple. Anyway, these things have I spoken unto you, being yet present with you. But the Comforter, which let me see if I went as far as this, because this is so sweet. Verse 26. But the Comforter, which is Ruach HaKadosh, whom the Father will send in my name, he shall teach you all things, and bring all things to your remembrance whatsoever I have said unto you. When we receive the Ruach, when we have the Ruach Mashiach, whom the Father has sent in Yahusha's name. That is why Shaul called the Ruach Mashiach. It's the same Holy Spirit. But Shaul called it the Ruach Mashiach because it has been sent, the Ruach has been sent in the name of Yahusha, under the authority of Yahusha. And by the way, this has to do with baptism as well. When they say baptize in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of Ruach HaKadosh, that name is Yahusha. The name of Yahusha. Yahusha says he comes in his Father's name. So when you're baptized in Yahusha, you are actually already baptized in the Father's name. Yes? When it says the Father has sent Ruach HaKadosh in Yahusha's name, when you baptize in the name of Yahusha, you baptize in the name of Ruach HaKadosh. It's simple. That is why the disciples and the apostles, they only baptize in the name of Yahusha. It's not three people baptized in the name of the Father, in the name of the Son, in the name of the God. No, it's one name. But the Comforter, which is Ruach HaKadosh, whom the Father will send in my name, can turn on the light, please? He shall teach you all things and bring all things to your remembrance whatsoever. Open it. You're opening it. Okay. Open it, yeah. No. Open it more. Oh. Open it some more and turn on the light. Yeah. But the Comforter, which is Ruach HaKadosh, whom the Father will send in my name, he shall teach you all things and bring all things to your remembrance whatsoever I have said unto you. That is how Ruach HaKadosh works. We don't need any angel to come and tell us. The Most High speaks to us through his Ruach. Now, that Ruach Messiah, that Ruach Mashiach, it will be the same Ruach of Messiah that will be gathering his people together. No, keep it open. Yeah. The sound, it echoes when it's closed. It will be the same Ruach of Messiah that will be gathering his people together. John 11:49. And one of them, named Caiaphas, being the high priest that same year, said unto them, Ye know nothing at all, nor consider that it is expedient for us that one man should die for the people, and that the whole nation perish not. And this he spake not of himself, but being high priest that year, he prophesied that Yahusha should die for that nation. And not for that nation only, but that also he should gather together in one the children of Alua that were scattered abroad. How does Yahusha gather together in one the children of Yashar who are gathered abroad when he is dead? He does it through Ruach Mashiach, Ruach HaKadosh, the Spirit of the Most High. So Yahusha was prophesied to gather together the children of Yasharal that were scattered abroad. But before that, before we go to that, we just touched that a while ago to give it an introduction. When we are in sin, we will have no comforter. Let me tell you something. When we are in sin, we will have no comforter. If the law of sin and death is ruling us, if we are in sin, my people, then nothing will be telling us to flee out of Babylon. Nothing will be telling us where to go or what to do. So we will be hearing people preaching it, and it is above our heads, because we have not been given that message. Why? We have not been given a comforter. Why? We are in sin. Those who are led by the law of sin and death will not have a comforter. Will not have that comforter dwelling in them. There might be the presence of the comforter, which is another thing. The Most High makes his presence known to us. His goodness leads us to repentance. So he makes his presence known to us so that we can repent. But that does not mean he dwells in us. The problem is, many of us as believers, we have an experience where Ruach HaKadosh showed up and we think he is dwelling inside of us. We did a teaching on our website. The difference between the presence of Yahuwah and the indwelling of the Holy Spirit, we call it. Then, that teaching there, I suggest you all go and watch that teaching. That teaching is very profound because That is not something that is being taught. Anyway, that was another of the revelation that came to me. Yes? When you get the understanding of that, then it makes you stop relaxing. Because when we have experiences with the Ruach, we relax and think we have the Ruach dwelling in us. Not knowing that it's just the presence of the Ruach, not the indwelling. Okay. It's very, very important that you understand that. Even sinners come to me and tell me about experiences with the Ruach, and you can say, whoa, that is the Most High. But they do not have the Ruach dwelling in them. But we as believers think that because we say we are believers, we have the Ruach indwelling. The Ruach will not dwell where there is sin. If the vessel is dirty, if you're eating garbage, the Ruach alone will move because of the garbage that you're eating. If you are in sin, and if you're in sin any at all, the Ruach will not dwell inside of you. It will not dwell in dirty vessels. You have to be clean. You have to be right. You have to be righteous. So when we are in sin, there is no comforter. The Most High takes away the comfort. We're going to read about what happened to Jerusalem and hear Jerusalem speaking about her and her children when the Most High took away the comforter because of the sins of the children of Yahshua. Lamentations 1, verse 15. You see that chapter there? Some time ago I used to read that chapter and I never had the understanding of it. And I was saying, boy, books like these, what are they doing in there? But you see this book, it is so valuable. There's so much depth to it. Here is Jerusalem speaking right now. Yahuwah hath trodden underfoot all my mighty men. 15. Yahuwah hath trodden underfoot all my mighty men in the midst of me. He hath called an assembly against me to crush my young men. Yahuwah hath trodden the virgin, the daughter of Yehudah, as in a winepress. This is what happened, people, when we went into captivity. For these things I weep, mine eye runneth down with water, because the comforter that should relieve my soul is far from me. My children are desolate because the enemy prevailed. When the enemy prevails over us, when we are in sin, the Most High pulls away the comforter from us. And that is why we were in captivity in sin. But when we have Yahusha now, we have the opportunity to get back the comforter. Let me continue. Remember, our eyes have to be focused on Zion, right? That's why we look at this. Zion spreadeth forth her hands, and there is none to comfort her. There is none to comfort her. So when we are in sin, there will be none to comfort us. And because there is none to comfort us, what will we be doing? We will be going according to the desires of our flesh. If we don't have anything to comfort us spiritually, we are going to look for comfort physically. Because the soul is always going to demand comfort no matter where the soul gets comfort from. That's the difference with the soul. So we are the middlemen within our conscience to determine where we are going to get our satisfaction from. The Most High has given us his comforter so that the comforter can comfort us and we can get our satisfaction from spiritual things. But the carnal man, desiring the things of the flesh, does not accept that offering of the Most High fully. Even if we become believers, we say we are believers, we do not accept it fully. And we're still partially walking half in the way of the Most High, half in the way of the flesh. That is called what? Double-mindedness. And being double-minded, huh?
There's no way you can please the Most High.
There's no way you can please him. Because it says, a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. Not some of his ways. All of his ways. And if you are unstable in all your ways after receiving the gift of Ruach HaKadosh from the Most High, you are none of his and you are waiting on a very sore punishment. Because those of us who accepted the Most High and we backslid, those of us who accepted the Most High and did not make good use of it, we are going to get worse punishment than those people who never knew the Most High. Anyway, Zion spreadeth forth her hands, and there is none to comfort her. Yahuwah hath commanded concerning Jacob that his adversaries should be round about him. Jerusalem is as a menstruous woman among them. So we are going to be in sin right now, as long as there is no comforter. What verse did I say I'm going to? 21. Yahuwah is righteous, for I have rebelled against his commandment. Hear, I pray you, all people, and behold my sorrow. My virgins and my young men are gone into captivity. Remember, a requirement to have the Ruach of Messiah is to what? Obey his commandment. Here, Jerusalem is saying, I have rebelled against Yahuwah. Yahuwah is righteous in doing what he's doing. So when we rebel against the Most High, in Yahuwah being righteous, we will not have his Ruach dwelling inside of us. Sharp. He will not have his Ruach dwelling inside of us. Yahuwah is righteous, for I have rebelled against his commandment. Hear, I pray you, all people, and behold my sorrow. My virgins and my young men are gone into captivity. That's what happened to us. I called for my lovers, but they deceived me. Oh, look at this now. Look at this now. I called for my lovers, but they deceived me. You see anything spiritual in this, Menzi? You see it? I called for my lovers, but they deceived me. This is us in Christianity. We went to Christianity for an answer, for comfort. But they deceived me. My priests and mine elders gave up the ghost in the city while they sought their meat to relieve their souls. So they gave up the Ruach and went to seek out what? Money. They sought gain. Instead of telling us the truth, they were more taken up with seeking their meat to relieve their souls. So they deceived us in order to get what? Filthy lucre. Behold, O Yahuwah, for I am in distress. My bowels are troubled, mine heart is turned within me, for I have grievously rebelled. Abroad the sword bereaveth, at home there is as death. They have heard that I sigh. There is none to comfort me, no comforter. All mine enemies have heard of my trouble. They are glad that thou hast done it. But then now Jerusalem went on to say, Thou wilt bring the day that thou hast called, and they shall be like unto me. Jerusalem is saying that the Most High is going to turn it around. And he's going to recompense the nations. And he is going to gather her children back to her. So when we are in sin, the whole bottom line is there will be no comforter. But to take us today out of our captivity, through our obedience, we will be sent a comforter. Remember, we said you cannot have the Ruach Mashiach unless you obey his commandments. Here's the steps. You obey his commandments. The Father will love you. If the Father loves you, the Son loves you. And if the Son loves you, then he and the Father will make their abode in us. John 14:15. If ye love me, keep my commandments. That's where everything begins. And I will pray the Father. There we go. And he shall give you another comforter. There we go. That he may abide with you forever. So, everything begins with keeping the commandments of Yahusha. Those who reject Yahusha, reject the commandments. Those who reject Yahusha, reject the truth. Those who reject Yahusha are going to be bogged down by the law of sin and death. You will not be able to overcome sin. So the comforter is given to the obedient, those who keep Yahusha's commandments. That's it. And receiving the comforter means Yahusha is in us to guide us. We are looking at what this means to us going, what this means to us going to Zion. Receiving the comforter. When we are in captivity, the comforter is taken away from us. Yes? The Most High shows pity and gives us the comforter, and we are awakened in the awakening, and we are awakened to his truth. When we are awakened to his truth, It means that we will receive now another comforter. And when we receive this comforter, he will guide us into all truth, and he will be Yahusha in us to guide us. Verse 17 of John 14. Even Ruach of truth, even Ruach Amat, whom the world cannot receive, because it seeth him not, neither knoweth him, but ye know him, for he dwelleth with you and shall be in you. Here we go again, as I was speaking about the article that we have about the dwelling, the Ruach dwelling with us, and the difference between the Ruach dwelling with us and the Ruach dwelling in us. He was telling the disciples that you know him, which is me, for he dwelleth with you. The Ruach dwelled with them through Yahushua HaMashiach. But it shall be in them. At that time, Ruach HaKadosh was not yet given, that they had the indwelling of the Ruach. Now, HaMashiach said in John 14:18, I will not leave you comfortless. That means when the Ruach comes, the Ruach of truth, it will be HaMashiach. I will not leave you comfortless. I will come to you. Yes? Verse 19. Yet a little while, and the world seeth me no more. But ye see me, because I live, ye shall live also. At that day ye shall know that I am in my Father, and ye in me, and I in you. Look at that verse very carefully. Let me give you a second there. Verse 20. I am in my Father, and you are in me, and I in you. What is that telling us? For all that we have been teaching. Yes? You don't need any angel to come and tell you anything. He is in his Father. We are in him. And he is in us. No. That's the Ruach. So whatever the Father wants us to do, the Father can give us instructions. If you go back to the first scripture that we did, Jeremiah 3:14-18. I will give you pastors after my own heart to feed you with understanding, to bring you back to Zion. That is what you must never ever forget. The Ruach in them, the Ruach will speak to them, just like the Ruach spoke to Hamashiach and he spoke to us. The Ruach will speak to his people and they will speak to you, and if you have the Ruach, then you will be able to receive it. Simple. So the Comforter, what are you doing here? Let me get this thing out here. Sorry about that. We have an unwanted visitor here. Man, there's so many things I have to do. No, sir. Where was I? Yeah. So the Comforter will teach us all things, but we must be obedient to qualify. Yeah, we looked at that. Mashiach showed us to give up our own will even unto death. What is happening today, people? It is our will that is standing in our way. The law of sin and death. Yes? Sin works when we go according to our own will, because our own will is dictated by this. When our will is dictated by this, we will make decisions based to please this. When we make the decisions placed to please this, we cannot do the will of the Father. We are actually enemies of the Father. Enemies. So many of you who are listening to this, based in your conscience, look at it. Almost all believers are like this. People, get your house in order. You have been listening to these things for too long. Too long. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind, your conscience. Let your conscience speak to you. Luke 22:41. And he was withdrawn from them about a stone's cast, and kneeled down and prayed, saying, Father, if thou be willing, remove this cup from me. Nevertheless, not my will, but thine be done. This is how we have to live, people. If we have this Ruach Mashiach, we will be living like him. Yes? We will be saying, nevertheless, not my will, but Thy will be done. We cannot go according to our will. That is why Hamashiach said a pre-condition to us following him is we deny ourselves. Luke 24:22-43. And there appeared an angel unto him from heaven, strengthening him. There appeared an angel unto him from heaven, strengthening him. So when we give up our will, the Most High will send his Ruach or an angel to strengthen us. Don't think that that happened to Yahushua Mashiach is far-fetched from us. Yes? Giving up our will, that is a triumph for the Most High, because it now means that we have given up the wheel. You know, when you're driving and you have the wheel and you are steering, yes, you're going your own way. Going in your own way, your own direction. The Most High wants you to give up the wheel and let him do the steering. Let him direct you in the path that you should go. When you do that, it will mean that you will have to make sacrifices. It will mean that you will have to give up something, but he will strengthen you. Because the Comforter bears witness of Yahusha. So because the Comforter bears witness of Yahusha, the Comforter will be like Yahusha. John 15:26. But when the Comforter is come, whom I will send unto you from the Father, even the Ruach Amat, which proceedeth from the Father, he shall testify of me. And ye also shall bear witness, because ye have been with me from the beginning. Now hear this. When we have the Comforter, we also will testify of Yahusha. So that Ruach in us will be speaking according to the will of Yahusha. Bearing witness to Yahusha. Because you have been with me from the beginning. But we were not with him from the beginning, but being with him, we also shall and will bear witness to Yahusha. And did we look at this before? The Comforter will guide us into all truth and show us what is to come. Did I look on it? Let me see. John 16:17. I'm not sure if I looked at this. 7:15. Okay, let me look at it. John 16. What did I say? 7-15? That's what I said? Nevertheless, I tell you the truth, it is expedient that I go away. For if I go not away, the Comforter will not come unto you. But if I depart, I will send him unto you. And when he is come, he will reprove the world of sin and of righteousness and of judgment. Of sin, because they believe not on me. Of righteousness, because I go to my Father, and ye see me no more. Of judgment, because the prince of this world is judged. I have yet many things to say unto you, but ye cannot bear them now. Howbeit, when he, Ruach Amat, the Spirit of truth, is come, he will guide you into all truth. So when we have this Ruach in us, which is Yahusha in us, in his Father, and us in him, and he guides us into all truth, why do we need an angel to come to us in Babylon to tell us when to go or where to go? When his word said in Jeremiah 50, and we're going to look at it verses 4 to about 6, that we shall ask our way to Zion with our faces thitherward. Yes? The Ruach in us is going to make us ask the way to Zion. That's where the Ruach is going to direct us. And we are going to ask the way because the Most High gives us the truth in part. And so we together are going to gather together, asking the way to Zion, waiting on the Most High to direct us to Zion, because the Most High does things in phases. He's an Elohim of order, but he does the order in phases. Yes? So, little, he will send us to go here, then he sends us to go there, then he sends us there, but he wants to know that we have the emunah, believing in him, trusting in him, in patience, waiting on him, and he will bring us to Zion. Howbeit, when the Ruach of truth is come, he will guide you into all truth. For he shall not speak of himself, but whatsoever he shall hear from who? The Father. That shall he speak, and he will show you things to come. So he will not only guide you into all truth, but he will also show you things to come. Why then are the people nowadays, knowing that the Ruach, the Messiah, promised that this power would come from the Ruach, why are we saying that we are going to be waiting for angels? If we are waiting for angels, it means that we do not have the Ruach. Because I know, when the Most High told me to flee, and where he told me to go is rock solid, because up to this very day, revelation after revelation, confirmation after confirmation, and I can only have pity for those who reject this, because you cannot tell everything. You cannot tell everything that is happening. The Most High told us where to go. Well, I was in Babylon to the very T. He told us the different places. When we went to the places, the same things in the dream playing out itself. The dreams are playing out themselves. He sent us to the what was that valley again? Why my brain is so my memory is so short. Some another valley. What was it again? Man, I don't remember it enough. But the exact place that he sent us, that's where we went. Yes? He sent us to the place of stones. We are at the place of stones. Everything the Most High has shown us. Yes? Because what? How did he show us? Through the Ruach. Through dreams. Through manifestations. Through revelations. Directed by the Ruach. That's the Ruach. And that is how you know you have the leading and the indwelling of the Ruach. And man, because this has not been revealed to them, they vilify it. Nothing has been revealed to them. So they are actually saying, let us stay put. Because, hey, Kaza, that is only for you. That is for you. Not being able to understand when someone is led by the Ruach. He shall exalt me, for he shall receive of mine and shall show it unto you. Now, Yahushua HaMashiach told you that all power has been given to me in heaven and earth. And he says we shall receive of it through the Comforter, right? And the Comforter will show it unto us. Why then do we need to wait on any angel to come and gather us? Eh? All things that the Father hath are mine. All power has been given me, yes? Therefore said I, that ye shall take of mine and shall show it unto you. My people, let us follow the leading of the Ruach and not be misguided. So when we see this gathering together, it is the spirit of Hamashiach that will do it. Zephaniah 2:1. Gather yourselves together, yea, gather together, O nation not desired. It is the Ruach Mashiach that will do the gathering together. It is the Ruach that gathers us today. And the danger point, you see? The danger point, the danger point is when this is to happen. Because people in this world see the world today as being so tranquil and calm, nothing happening. We have rumors of war, yes, but nothing is really happening. When should we gather together? Before the decree bring forth. So before anything bad happens, before the day passes as a chaff, before the fierce anger of Yahuwah come upon you, before the day of Yahuwah's anger come upon you, 4 times in one verse, he said before, you must gather together. So that is the Ruach Mashiach, because many people will say, oh, it is not yet the time to gather. It is not yet, Yeah, man, do it in your time. You see, Yahuwah is not mocked. Eh? So let's have more proof that Yahusha HaMashiach is the one who is going to gather us through his Ruach. He's going to tell us what to do, when to do it. Nehemiah 7, starting at verse 5. The Most High was the one who placed it on Nehemiah's heart to gather the people out of Babylon. To gather the people out of Babylon. This is no Egyptian gathering. This is Babylon. Once again, the Most High is going to put it on the heart of his people to gather back his people out of Babylon. And that is what is happening today with people who are calling you out, but you cannot recognize it because you're so caught up in this world, caught up in the law of sin and death, under the power of the law of sin and death, not being led by the law of the Ruach of life that is in Hamashiach. And my Alua put it into mine heart to gather together the nobles and the rulers and the people, that they might be reckoned by genealogy. Yes? And I found a register of the genealogy of them which came up at the first, and found written therein. So this genealogy here is saying that it is the people of the Most High who is calling out of Babylon. But the other nations, the strangers, can join themselves to them. So Babylon, that's why we tell people, we have some teachings about mixed race marriage coming out of Babylon. And people, how many people are at arms against it? Coming out of Babylon, the restoration to the nation. It is our people restoring themselves to the nation. That's why it says by genealogy. No, we will not go by genealogy, because many of us don't know which tribes they are from. Yes? Although I think I do believe now which tribe I am from, but I won't even tell anyone. Yeah. But people will not know the tribes that they are from this time, but it will still be a record of the children of Yashrael returning to the land. Nehemiah 7:6. These are the children of the promise that went up out of the captivity. So to bring back the people out of the captivity, the Most High put it into Nehemiah's heart to gather the people. Of those that had been carried away, whom Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, had carried away, and came again to Jerusalem and to Yehuda, everyone unto his city, we will be returned. After the Most High, as he says, he will give us pastors according to his own heart, and these will teach us and guide us in the path that we should go. More proof. Yahusha was prophesied to gather the outcasts of Judah from the four corners of the earth. People, I only hope with this teaching here today, we can put to rest this thing about us telling people that they should wait in Babylon. If there is, the Most High is going to come and gather people in Babylon, yeah? It is not at the first. It is not at the first. I don't know if he will do it. Yes? But it is not at the first. At the first, right now, his people need to flee out of the midst of Babylon, need to be led by the Ruach. If you are not led by the Ruach, because this is not for everyone, because in the book of Revelation, he says we must qualify. He says we must be accounted worthy to escape. It is in the assembly of Philadelphia. So it is his righteous people, his people who are in righteousness, who are going to hear this. Because only those who are in righteousness are going to have the Ruach of Mashiach in them. You see everything matching up. So those believers who are off, you will not get this call and you will not be able to flee. Because it is the assembly of Philadelphia that was in perfection. The only assembly that the Messiah had no problem with. So at this time, you have to be walking in purity before the Most High, in perfection, to hear his voice and to be led by his Ruach. Otherwise, you will be led by the Ruach of sin and death. And you will not be able to hear this word. You will be one of them that is grumbling and say, oh, well, I'll flee. Every week he talk about Babylon. Every week he talk about fleeing Babylon. This is for people who seek out his perfection. Anyway, where was I? Isaiah 11, verses 9 to 12. It will be a Mashiach it was a Mashiach that was prophesied to lead his people. They shall not hurt nor destroy in all my set apart mountain, for the earth shall be full of the knowledge of Yahuwah as the waters cover the sea. And in that day there shall be a root of Jesse, which shall stand for an ensign of the people. To it shall the Gentiles seek, and his rest shall be glorious. This is Hamashiach here. The banner, the ensign, the flag. And it shall come to pass in that day that Yahuwah shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria, and from Mitzrayim, and from Cush, and from Elam, and from Shinar, and from Hamath, and from the islands of the sea. This is our gathering in the end. And of course, these are not all the people that shall be gathered. These are some of the people who were left, who were scattered under different captivities. Yes? And he shall set up an ensign for the nations, and shall assemble the outcasts of Yasharal. There we go. This ensign or this banner of the nations is Yahusha HaMashiach. And Yahusha shall assemble the outcasts of Yasharal. And Yahusha shall gather together the dispersed of Yehudah from the four corners of the earth. How is he going to do it? Through his Ruach that dwells in us. All right, you don't believe? Up to you. Yes? So, if we walk in the flesh, which means without the Ruach, right? We will be under the law. We're still tying in the law. Yes? Get your house in order. If you walk in the flesh, and you're walking without Ruach HaKadosh, you will be under the law. Galatians 5:16. This I say then, walk in the Ruach, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. Walk in the Ruach. Walk being led by your conscience that has been primed by the Ruach Mashiach. Walk following the likeness on the life of Yahusha HaMashiach. Yeah? Walk in the Ruach, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. That means, if the Ruach of life in a Mashiach is not in you, you will be walking after the flesh. Why do you think most people are battling? Why do you think when we say, flee out of the midst of Babylon, come out of her, my people? Why do you think so many people are angered and miserable and try to shoot it down? Because they're not in the Ruach. They're in the flesh. And being in the flesh, they are not walking and cannot walk in the Ruach. And they are fulfilling the lust of the flesh. For the flesh lusteth against the Ruach, and the Ruach against the flesh. And these are contrary the one to the other, so that ye cannot do the things that ye would. So if you're not walking in the Ruach, yes, the flesh is going to be lusting against the Ruach. The flesh is going to be trying to overpower the Ruach so that the flesh can lead this and guide this. Yeah? And you cannot do the spiritual things. You cannot do the things that you would like to do. But if ye be led of the Ruach, you are not under the law. So, if you are led of the Ruach, you're not under the law. What does it mean? What is the significance of being in the flesh and under the law? Romans 7 verse 5. Did we do that before? Romans 7 verse 5. What does it mean to be in the flesh? And we said it before. We've said it before. It's walking in the law of sin and death. When you're walking in the law of sin and death, maybe I do not need to do this because so much to do. When you're walking in the law of sin and death, let me get myself back. When you're walking in the law of sin and death, you will be under the power of the law. When you're under the power of the law, the law will allow, the law of sin and death will come in and allow you to be deceived by sin and allow you to not be able to walk in righteousness. Yes? But if you are led of the Ruach, you are not under the law, means if you are led by the Ruach of Mashiach, then you will be able to walk overpowering the flesh. You will be able to walk with the Ruach of the Most High, quickening this dead body so that you can be walking according to the will of the Most High and according to his Ruach. And that time, the Most High will be in you, and his Son will be in you, and his Son will be in the Most High, and we will be in his Son. So, yeah, I think I probably could skip that. So, but if we are delivered from the law through Hamashiach, we walk in newness of Ruach. Anytime we are delivered, we know. If you are not walking in newness of Ruach, if you are the same person as before, if you are not totally transformed and walking as a new creature, you know that you are under the power of the law, under sin. Romans 7:6. But now we are delivered from the law, that being dead wherein we were held, that we should serve in newness of Ruach and not in the oldness of the letter. This man is too intelligent for me, boy. I tell you, boy. Hey. Now being delivered from the law, when we are walking in the image of Yahushua HaMashiach, when we are walking in the commandments of HaMashiach, that's a better word. When we are walking in the commandments of Yahushua HaMashiach, then we will be walking released from the law of sin and death, because the law of sin and death will not have power over us. Therefore, we will be serving in newness of Ruach, because the Ruach of Hamashiach will be guiding us and leading us, and being connected to our Ruach, then our Ruach will be renewed. And being renewed, we will be walking in newness of Ruach, not in the oldness of the letter. The oldness of the letter is to take the law and to say, okay, I did not steal today, I am good. Okay, I did not commit adultery today, I am good. But the law of the Ruach of life in a Mashiach is actually saying, okay, I did not commit adultery today, but I looked at a woman with desire. Therefore, I need to do something about it. That's the difference. Yes? I did not hate anybody today, but I hated my enemy. When you're in the law of the Ruach of life in a Mashiach, you said, I didn't hate anyone today, but I failed because I saw my enemy and I felt hatred for him. That's the difference. That is what makes Yahusha above the Torah, and that is what makes it above sin. Because that buffer, for example, that we gave you about loving your enemy, hating your enemy, that buffer above, I did not hate anyone today. And with Hamashiach now, if you even hate your enemy, that means you hate. That difference is where the righteousness is. Yes, that gap is where the righteousness is above this law of sin and death. The law of sin and death is down here. Hamashiach brings you above that. And now you can walk in newness of Ruach. Between this buffer here, this little region here, that is where you can walk in the Ruach, above the oldness of the letter. And the oldness of the letter is down here. But walking in newness of life, attaining unto Yahusha, puts you way above the Torah. So when our lives are guided by the Ruach, the Father and the Son are able to guide us. Get your house in order. If you don't understand this, well, I don't know. You have to get this understanding, people, to overcome sin. We are not just saying overcome sin. We are giving you the technical aspects of it so that you can have the understanding to overcome it. So this newness of Ruach is being like a little child, because the Comforter is in us. Galatians 5:22-23, this newness of Ruach will be like a little child. Galatians 5:22-23. But the fruit of the Ruach is love, joy, shalom, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. Against such there is no law. There is something about being an adult where we can lose all of these things. A little child is able to bring out these things. Even though a little child might be sinful or whatever, he is better able to bring out love than us, better able to show joy, better able to be at peace, yes? Better able to be long-suffering, especially if he fears his parents, better able to be gentle, goodness, faith. Anyway, all of these things, a child is better able to do them. And why? Matthew 18, 2 to 5. This is why Hamashiach said in Matthew 18, this is why he said this. And Yahusha called a little child unto him and set him in the midst of them. Notice a little child, because you have children who are 17 years old, 18 years old. We're not talking about them. A little child. And said, Verily I say unto you, except ye be converted and become as children, ye shall not enter into the kingdom of Shamayim. Except ye be converted and become as little children, ye shall not enter into the kingdom. Remember, our teaching today is about returning to Zion. And except you are like a little child. Most of us as adults today, as believers today, we are far from being like little children. I remember somebody asked me once, when I was trying to correct them, who do you think you're talking to? Do you think you're talking to a little child? My answer was, yes, you're supposed to be a little child. Under the leadership of the Most High, you're supposed to be a little child. But most people are proudly not subscribing to this, which is why you have itching ears. People go all over the internet. If you try to say something to them, woe be unto you. If you try to correct them, especially if you're hard in your speaking, man, you won't hear the end of it. We have to be humble like little children. Whosoever therefore shall humble himself as this little child, the same is greatest in the kingdom of Shamayim. How far did we say it go? To 5. Yeah. And whoso shall receive one such little child in my name, receiveth me. All right? Of course, this little child can also spiritually refer to a young believer, spiritually. Yeah. So hence, man, so much to go. Up. Let me see. Oh. Hence we will not have our own will. John 3, 5 to 8. When we are like little children, we will not have our own will. Remember, not having our own will is important to overcome this. It is important to overcome the law of sin and death. John 3, 5 to 8. John 3, 5. Yahusha answered, Verily, verily, I say unto thee, except a man be born of water and of the Ruach, he cannot enter into the kingdom of Elohim. That which is born of the flesh is flesh, and that which is born of the Ruach is Ruach. Marvel not that I said unto thee, ye must be born again. The wind bloweth where it listeth, and thou hearest the sound thereof, but canst not tell whence it cometh, and whither it goeth. So is everyone that is born of the Ruach. So being born of the Ruach, like a little child, you will not have your own will. You will be able, people will be able to tell you what to do, where to do, how to do it. We have to go back, people, to that little place that we were when we were kids. So when we are in an assembly, we have to be willing to be what? Little children. This is why John said it. Is it John? John said it and Shaul also said it as well. Let's go. Where is it? Another important concept to grasp, yes? Oh, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? John 13:33. Little children, yet a little while I am with you. Ye shall seek me, and as I said unto the Yahudim, whither I go ye cannot come. So now I say to you. This is a Mashiach calling his disciples little children. But Shaul also called his disciples little children. Galatians 4:19. My little children, of whom I travail in birth again until Hamashiach is formed in you. Yes? John also called the people he was leading little children. 1 John 2:12. I write unto you little children, because your sins are forgiven in the names of Yahuwah. Do you think that it is literally? And John, let me see how many times John used this term. 1 John 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times John used the term little children. Because it's important for us to have this humility. Yeah? So those who have their own will, Jude 1:17-18. Those who have their own will, Jude 1:17-18. That is why we tell people you have to be in an assembly. You have to be taught. You have to learn. Don't do this, don't do that. You have to be reprogrammed like a little child, born again. And when you are born again, you did not become an adult overnight. I'm very sure. You did not become an adult overnight as you are. So when you are born again, how can you now want to become an adult overnight? What has happened is that everybody comes to this word and everybody wants to, all of a sudden, everybody wants to be mature. Everybody, as they start to learn, everybody starts to teach. Nobody keeps themselves quiet and goes into deep learning to grow. No. And they will see people who will be there for years, and they will be taking on people, arguing with people. Let me go. Where did I say I was going again? Jude 1:17-18. But beloved, remember ye the words which were spoken before of the apostles of our Master Yahushua HaMashiach, how that they told us that there should be mockers in the last time who should walk after their own ungodly lusts. If we have our own will, we will be going after our own lusts. We will be going after our own lusts. These be they who separate themselves, sensual, not having not the Ruach. What does it mean, separate themselves? What is the similitude we have today? To disjoin. These are the people who do not want to be gathered together with anyone. Or if they are gathered with people, the least thing happens, they run away. These are mockers, going after their own ungodly lusts. As long as you are going after your own will, you are going to go after ungodly lusts. Psalm 78:29-31. Psalms 78:29-31. So they did eat and were filled, for he gave them their own desire. So he's speaking about the children of Yashrael who went a whoring after their lust in the wilderness. They were not estranged from their lust, but while their meat was yet in their mouth, the wrath of Alua came upon them and slew the fattest of them and smote down the chosen men of them. We showed before, it was last week or the week before, that the Most High will give us the desires of our hearts, even if it is going to get us into trouble. He will give us our desires and then afflict us later for choosing wrong desires. So if we go according to our own will, we might even get what we want, but we will have to pay for it. 2 Timothy 4, verse 2-4. This is one that we use almost every week as well. 2 Timothy 4, 2-4. Preach the word. Be instant in season, out of season. Reprove, rebuke, exhort with all long suffering and doctrine. For the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine, but after their own lusts shall they heap to themselves teachers having itching ears. So those people today who have itching ears going all over the place, not content to hear from one teacher, but they want to hear from everybody. Yeah? It will be after their own lusts. The law of sin and death operating in them. They do not have the Ruach Mashiach. And they shall turn away their ears from the truth and shall be turned unto fables. Because the Most High is just going to give them what they are seeking for. Lies. Let me continue. I'm trying. What time is it? Oh, 2 hours. Okay. So Mashiach showed us to give up our own will even unto death when he said, nevertheless, not my will. All right, we did that already. Now, the challenge of rejecting the lust of Babylon when walking in the flesh in our own will. Because the flesh will be lusting against the Ruach, and the Ruach will be lusting against the flesh. So Galatians 5:16 says, this I say then, walk in the Ruach, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. For the flesh lusteth against the Ruach, and the Ruach against the flesh. And these are contrary the one to the other, so that we cannot do the things that ye would. So because if we are in the lust, how can we separate ourselves from Babylon? And Babylon is built on lust. If the law of sin and death is ruling us, then we will be ruled by our own lusts and desires. If we are ruled by our own lusts and desires, how can we reject Babylon that is built on lusts and desires? Revelation 18:14 is the example. And the fruits that thy soul lusteth after. So the Most High is telling us in Revelation 18 that all the things that are produced in Babylon will generate lust in us, but he is going to take it away. And that is equivalent to the book of 1 John 2:15-17, love not the world, neither the things of the world. And in verse 17, and it says, the lust passeth away, but those who do the will of Alua abideth forever. Yes? So the things that thy soul lusted after are departed from thee, and all things which were daintiness, if we love daintiness again, if we are weak to daintiness, we are weak to the flesh. So those people who say, oh, I have a sweet tooth. People, you need to extract that tooth. You need to go to the dentist. You need to go to the dentist and get rid of that sweet tooth, because that is dainty. And the Most High is going to take it away from us. And all things which were dainty and goodly are departed from thee, and thou shalt find them no more at all. So when we walk in obedience to Yahusha and walk after the Ruach, we can overcome our lusts. If we don't, then we will be prone to the lust. So when someone says, flee out of the midst of Babylon, you're going to say, flee where? Go where? And do what? And leave all of these delicacies behind, and to leave all of these things that I'm lusting after behind. No, you go. You go. And again, now, the warning against lust, 1 John 2:15-17. Lust, lust, lust. We cannot get rid of this verse. I'm very sorry. Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. So if we love the world and the things that are in the world, we are going to love Babylon, and the things that our soul lusts after, we are going to satisfy it. And in satisfying this, giving it the things that our souls lust after, we are going to be at the mercy of the law of sin and death. And when we are of the mercy of the law of sin and death, we are going to be at the mercy of deception. I forgot to do even the verse, which says that sin deceived me and slew me, to show you that sin is deceptive. Do I have it lined up, or did I do it before? I don't know if we did it before. I don't know. Probably a good time to do it. We have to look at the deception of sin. We did not look at it. That it is not something that is clear cut. It is a deception. Where was I again? Romans 7. Romans 7. Romans 7:11 says, "For sin, taking occasion by the commandment, deceived me, and by it slew me." By it slew me. So what it's saying here is that sin is deceptive. People, this is why you must find yourself in an assembly. Sin is deceptive. When you are by yourself, when you are alone, sin will deceive you. When you are not guided by a set-apart leader of the Most High, sin will deceive you, because you will not be able to see the sin. You cannot see your errors. You cannot. Someone has to point it out to you. That is why in Hebrews 13, it says this. Hebrews 13:17. This is what it says. "Obey them that have the rule over you, and submit yourselves, for they watch for your souls." The Most High appoints people over you to watch for your soul. And what do they watch for your soul? Whenever you are turning to the left or turning to the right, whenever you are off track, He will send these people to tell you, to warn you. He will send these people to correct you. That is why in 2 Timothy chapter 4, it says, "Preach the word, be instant in season, out of season, reprove, rebuke, exhort with all longsuffering and doctrine, for the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine." So we as the leaders, we as the teachers, this is what we are called to do. When we do it, people criticize us and say we are not loving. You act as if you're better than us. You act as if you're perfect. That's what we are called to do. If we don't do it, sin is going to deceive you and slay you and kill you, destroy you. Because the law of sin and death is operating from within. Shaul says he sees a law in his members. That which you don't want to do, sin deceives you and lets you do it. This is the danger point that has to be pointed out to you by those people who the Most High has chosen to be leaders over you. Let me go back. Where was I? Yes. Warning against lust. "If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him." We did a teaching on this. Yeah. "For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life is not of the Father, but is of the world." So there's two different things. The world is going to deceive you and slay you. The world is going to deceive you and slay you. If you love the world, you're dead. So the Most High gives you teachers to show you and to teach you and to instruct you in the ways of righteousness, as I am doing now. I'll tell you something. Many of these teachers on the internet, boy, the things that they are teaching people. I'm telling you, it's really, really sad. How many of them are teaching people righteousness and these going into depths with these things? That is what we need to do as teachers. That's what the Most High has called us to do. So the world is one of lust. Yeah? If we love it, this world of lust, the Father's love will not be in us, and we will not be able to do Yahuwah's will. Verse 17, and the world passeth away, and the lust thereof. But he that doeth the will of Yahuwah abideth forever, which shows us that those who do the will of Yahuwah will not be prone to the lusts that are in the world. They will not love the world. Simple. Now, a Mashiach gave up himself. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, not bad. The problem with me with these teachings, when I start these teachings, by the time I reach 1.5 hours, I want to finish it quickly. I have to be telling myself, take your time. Take your time. All right. Mashiach gave up himself to rescue us out of this present world. This present world. We got to know this. This world that we are in, it is not the ideal world. It is not Yahuwah's world. Yahuwah said he gave the world into the hand of the wicked. Yahusha gave up himself to take us out of this world of the wicked. Galatians 1:4. Who gave himself for our sins that he might deliver us from this present evil world, according to the will of Allah and our Father. So Yahusha gave up himself to take us out of this evil world. But we want to stay inside there and wait for him to take us out again. He has already taken us out. He has already delivered us out. And how has he delivered us out? He has delivered us to triumph over the law of sin and death, wherein we can receive his Ruach, and through his Ruach we can be guided into all truth, and we can be instructed as to where to go and what to do. So accepting Yahusha's offering and walking in the Ruach, we are able to be delivered from this present evil Babylon. If we are still walking in the flesh, still walking according to our desires, still walking according at the weakness, at the mercy at the law of sin and death, then we will not be able to be delivered from Babylon. So he gave up himself to rescue us out of this present evil world, to purify unto himself a peculiar people zealous of good works. Titus 2:11-14. A peculiar people zealous of good works. So the people who he calls have to be called out of this world, and they will be zealous of good works. They will not be zealous to stay in this world. Titus 2:11-14. For the favor of Allah that bringeth salvation hath appeared to all men, teaching us that, denying ungodliness and worldly lusts, there is the lust again, we should live soberly, righteously, and holy in this present world. So he delivers us, he takes us out of this world, looking for that blessed hope and the splendid appearing of the great Allah and our Savior, Yahusha HaMashiach, who gave himself for us, that he might redeem us from all iniquity, and purify unto himself a peculiar people, zealous of good works. So we should be looking for that blessed hope, and the hope that we are looking for, that blessed hope that we are looking for, is setting our faces thitherward towards Zion, so that we can be delivered into the Most High's kingdom. So he purified unto himself a people zealous of good works. Look at that carefully, because the next one we are looking at is, if we are a peculiar people walking in the Ruach, we will be instructed to come out of Babylon as we would be his people. Let me say it again a little slowly. Let me reorganize it. To be his people, we have to be a peculiar people that he delivered out of this present world, and we would be walking in the Ruach, not according to the lust of the flesh, but in the Ruach, in the law of the Ruach of life that is in Hamashiach. Then we will be instructed by the Ruach Hamashiach to come out of Babylon. Why? Because we are his people. The word says, come out of her what? My people. It's not everyone who says they are Israelite are his people. He promised us a people. He promised us a people who are remnant. He promised us a righteous remnant. Revelation 18, verse 4. And I heard another voice from Shamayim saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. Those who are a people zealous of good works will come out of her. Because if you are zealous of good works, you will remember that Babylon is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul ruach, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird, and you will despise Babylon and want to come out of her, because you are a peculiar people, zealous of good works. And so when he says, come out of Babylon, you'll quickly say, okay, yes, where should I go? Where should I go? I need to come out of this place. This place is too disgusting. So many videos and things are being passed around about all the evil that is being done in Babylon, and people still say that they are remaining in there. This teaching is showing you up. You need to get your house in order. You are not at the place where you should be for you to be able to receive these messages. Jeremiah 51, verses 5 to 8. Jeremiah 51, verses 5 to 8. You will be zealous. When it says flee out of Babylon, then guess what? For Yasharal hath not been forsaken, nor Yahudah of his Alua, of Yahuwah Sabaoth, though their land was filled with sin against the Kadosh Yasharal. Flee out of the midst of Babylon. Here we go again. Boy, you must be tired of me. If I was there right in your presence, you should be stoning. You must be stoning me now with all sorts of... they used to stone people in America with eggs and tomatoes and everything. And saying, boo, boo. Because you're so tired of hearing this. But this is my call. And if you're listening to me, it is my calling. This is what the Most High has called me to do. And I am doing what he has called me to do. Flee out of the midst of Babylon, and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her iniquity, for this is the time of Yahuwah's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense. And as I see the eggs coming and the tomatoes, I can't help it. It's what I'm called to do. Babylon hath been a golden cup in Yahuwah's hand, that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad, and therefore the nations have stirred up lusts in her people. And if you don't have these lusts, and if you reject Babylon, then you will want to come out of her. Yes? I personally know. I cannot see myself living in Babylon. If I'm to go there, it would be a nightmare. Oh man. To go back into that system. Me. So I don't know how people are comfortable in there and saying that they are believers. The Ruach that is in me despises it so much. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Hold for her, take balm for her pain. If so be, she may be healed. What did I say? I said 8, so let me start at 8. All right? So we're kind of touching down now. We're kind of touching down now. Because someone had asked if we can flee. Someone had asked, can we flee to Jamaica? And we're just using Jamaica for an example. Because we said, was it last week, that the Most High told us where to flee. He told us where to flee. And some people are saying, can we flee to such and such? Now, the Ruach, in leading us, is going to lead us to where? Zion. So, me now, being in Jamaica, at one point in Jamaica, we thought that wherever you went, like you can come out of the midst of Babylon, go somewhere that is, set apart, distant from everywhere else, and that is fleeing out of Babylon. But the Most High gave more insights into His word after I obeyed the command to actually go where He sent me to go. And Jeremiah 51 verse 9 to 10, here's my answer. If someone asks if we can flee to Jamaica, to Costa Rica, Venezuela, no, not Venezuela, who would want to go to Venezuela at this time with this, wherever, I'm running out of places. 51 9 to 10, Jeremiah 51 9 to 10. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her and let us go everyone into his own country. So people see this and say, okay, the Most High says go into our own country. So if I am from Jamaica, I'm in the United States, in the midst and the heart of Babylon, USA, then if I go back to Jamaica, I am fine. Well, that is fine if you are not a believer. Because if you're a believer, there are specific places you go. We started by showing that we should be doing what? Asking the way to Zion. Our destination should be what? Zion. So when it says our own country now, we who are Israelites have to now figure out where is our country. Jamaica. Is Jamaica my country? The Bible tells me it is not. Because the Bible told me that I was sent into captivity there. And it tells me that I should pray towards the land. And I should seek out the land. So if I am seeking out the land and I'm fleeing Babylon, why am I going back to Jamaica, the land of my captivity? Let's look. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her and let us go everyone into his own country. My country is Zion. My country is Yehuda, Judah. I am from the house of Judah. And again, I won't tell you what tribe. I am from the house of Judah. I am either Judah, Benjamin, or Levi. Yes? For her judgment reacheth unto heaven, and is lifted up even to the skies. Yahuwah hath brought forth our righteousness. Come and let us declare in Zion. Declare where? In Zion. So our country is us heading to Zion. Let me continue. Yirmiyahu 50 verses 4 to 8. This is just for those, because this is a common question that is asked. I don't know if I dealt with it before. Boy, sometimes I don't even remember. Verse 4 to 8. In those days and in that time, saith Yahuwah, the children of Yasharal shall come, they and the children of Yehuda together, going and weeping. They shall go and seek Yahuwah their Aluah. Where and how will they seek Yahuwah? Verse 5. They shall ask the way to Zion. They shall not ask the way to Jamaica or wherever that place is. Your own country. Zion is my country. They shall ask the way to Zion with their faces thitherward, saying, come and let us join ourselves to Yahuwah in a perpetual covenant that shall not be forsaken. Asking our way to Zion. My people have been lost sheep. Their shepherds have caused them to go astray. They have turned them away on the mountains. They have gone from mountain to hill. They have forgotten their resting place. So the Most High, the shepherd of these people, your Christian pastors today, have caused you to go astray. That is why the Most High has to give you pastors to bring you back on the right path. All that found them have devoured them, and their adversaries said, we offend not, because they have sinned against Yahuwah, the habitation of justice, even Yahuwah, the hope of their fathers. Remove out of the midst of Babylon, and go forth out of the land of the Chaldeans, and be as the he-goats before the flocks. And when you go forth out of the midst of Babylon, when you go forth out of the land of the Chaldeans, you are going to ask your way to Zion. And we're not done. Verses 16 and 19. 16 to 19, I said, or 16 and 9. 16 to 19. Cut off the sower from Babylon, and him that handleth the sickle in the time of harvest. For fear of the oppressing sword, they shall turn everyone to his people, and they shall flee everyone to his own land. Is this land Jamaica, if I am from Jamaica? Yasharal is a scattered sheep. There we go. We were scattered. Jamaica is not my land. No wonder I own no property there. It's not my land. I owned and then I sold. Not my land. Yasharal is a scattered sheep. The lions have driven him away. First the king of Yasharal hath devoured him, and last this Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, hath broken his bones. Therefore, thus saith Yahuwah Sabaoth, the Elohim of Yasharal, behold, I will punish the king of Babylon and his land as I have punished the king of Assyria. And I will bring Yasharal again to his habitation. So we shall be asking our way to our habitation, to Yasharal. And he shall feed on Carmel and Bashan, and his soul shall be satisfied upon Ephraim and Gilead. Ask your way to Zion. If you are fleeing, not Jamaica, if you are from Jamaica, using that example, flee back to your land. Verse 28. The voice of them that flee and escape out of the land of Babylon, to declare in Zion. So when you flee and escape out of Babylon, you will go to Zion. The vengeance of Yahuwah or Alua, the vengeance of his temple. When you flee to Zion. That is your country. That is my, if it is not your country, it is my country. So we'll end with the bottom line. We'll end with a summary. His chosen teachers or pastors, whatever you want to call them, will direct his little children, those who are like little children, to Mount Zion, because his people have been exploited by the Christian pastors and teachers and their false religions. They have been exploited by Babylon and its system. The Most High raises up and calls up people to instruct them now, to direct them in the path that they should go. The Most High is not going to give you everything in your mind. He has chosen people who he has chosen to lead you. And all of them, from top to bottom, from the pastor, teacher, down to bottom, will be walking in the Ruach. You have to be walking in the Ruach. Isaiah 30, verses 18 to 21. Isaiah 30, verses 18 to 21, verses that we are familiar with, but you have to know this, because there are many people who come and ask, okay, so where should I go? What do I do? Can I this and can I that? The Most High says, gather yourselves together. And therefore will Yahuwah wait, that he may be gracious unto you, and therefore will he be exalted, that he may have mercy upon you. For Yahuwah is an allure of judgment, Barak are all they that wait for him. So right now we are here, waiting on him. For the people shall dwell in Zion at Jerusalem. No, the people shall dwell in Jamaica. The people shall dwell in Zion at Jerusalem. Thou shalt weep no more. He will be very gracious unto thee at the voice of thy cry. When he shall hear it, he will answer thee. And let's see how the Most High will get you now to Zion. How will he get you there? And though Yahuwah give you the bread of adversity and the water of affliction, yet shall not thy teachers be removed into a corner any more, but thine eyes shall see thy teachers, and thine ears shall hear a word behind thee, saying, This is the way, walk ye in it when ye turn to the right hand and when ye turn to the left. To get you to Zion, the Most High has chosen people who he will use to direct you there. It's not you going on your own. When you turn to the right, he says, no, that's the wrong way. He will give you people to direct you, to correct you. And if you are too proud to be corrected, that means you are not like the little child. And if you are not like the little child, you cannot enter the kingdom. You have to be like little children. Because if I say to you, my little children, you are going to look at me, who are you calling little children? You have to be like little children, and he will direct you and instruct you through those he has chosen to do it. That is why what we are preaching here, you don't hear many people teaching or preaching it. Because they were not chosen. Every one of us is given a different task. Everyone is given a different calling. This is my calling. So you won't hear everybody talking about it, because this is not their calling. Verse 21, I said, okay. And Jeremiah 50 verses 4 to 5, we'll end it with it. We've said it before, Jeremiah 50 verses 4 to 5. Remember, people? Jeremiah 50 verses 4 to 5. In those days and in that time, saith Yahuwah, the children of Yasharal shall come, they and the children of Yahudah together, going and weeping, they shall go and seek Yahuwah their allure. If you match it up with the previous one in Isaiah, it shows you that they will be seeking them under the leadership of his chosen pastors and teachers, who are according to his Yahuwah's own heart, that will feed them with understanding and guide them and correct them along the pathway. They shall ask the way to Zion with their faces thitherward, saying, Come and let us join ourselves to Yahuwah in a perpetual covenant that shall not be forgotten. Herein lies today's teaching. Only hope you got something from this. Only hope you learned something from this. You have to overcome this, the law of sin and death, for you to get the Ruach in you. If you get the Ruach in you, then the Ruach will direct you as to where you will go. The Ruach will guide you to his chosen teachers and pastors, who will guide you and teach you and correct you in the way you should go and lead you to Mount Zion. Thank you, and shalom, shalom, shalom. All right, sharp. All right, 91 people on YouTube. That's very good. All right, let me go back to the beginning. I'm going to YouTube to see if I can get something here. If you have any questions on YouTube, please put them. If I can answer them, I will answer them. If I am led to answer them, I will answer them. Yeah. All right. Brian Bino said he sought the members in Romans 7, the law of sin which are in my members. Now, if you look at members there refer to members there refers to your physical law of sin which is in my members. Let me go to Romans 7 verse 21 thereabout. Members, Romans 7:23. The word members there. G3196, melos, a limb or part of the body, member. Yeah, so as I was saying, it is your body. Sin is actually in your body. That is where it takes place. That is where it takes occasion. Because we have a body of sin, because the penalty of death is upon us. So we are led by the wages of sin, which is death. Yeah. Yeah, Michael answered him, yeah. And this is the problem that I have here. Let me not say. Let me just hold it. Pentecostals love to quote Romans 8:8 to confirm speaking in tongues. To say that if you don't speak in tongues, you're none of Hamashiach. Oh, so it says, if any man have not the Ruach Mashiach. So the Ruach Mashiach, speaking in tongues. Boy, I'll tell you, religion. All right. I grew up Pentecostal. They would make you say Jesus real fast until Holy Ghost come upon you. That is witchcraft, by the way. Yeah. Yeah, Brian Bino, that teaching is on the website. That teaching about, I should look up that teaching. Let me see if I can get it. Let me see if I can get it. All right, I got it. Yeah. So here is the teaching. The difference between, let me get it. Whoop. There is a teaching. The difference between having the Ruach Yahuwah. Let me get the title of it. The title of it is there a difference between the presence of Yahuwah? This is the title. Is there a difference between the presence of Yahuwah and having His Holy Spirit? Is my husband able to baptize me in the name of Yahushua Mashiach? In our pool, I was baptized in Yahusha's name. Ideally, a set-apart person of the Most High should do the baptism, but if you have no choice, well, there's me. When I say set-apart, I mean an anointed person of the Most High. Now, if you have no choice, then if I had no choice, then whomever is available to me, I would let them baptize me. All right? All right. pum. Somebody says, true, very sad. So point out one righteous assembly in the UK. We've got IUIC, Olive Tree, Replacement Theology, Liverpool, YTE, Replacement Theologies, Ava, Black Freemasons. So no righteous assemblies. Stephen Pigeon, which cult groups are some? I've noticed the people I know with the Ruach all training their bodies, purifying from parasites in making plans to leave. Man, it's so hard. Bam. I'm trying to go through. Can you do a teaching on how to properly perform burial service for our loved ones? Unlike that the modern day assembly do Toda Yahuwah. I've never ever thought about anything like that. Yahuwah's servant. I only do teachings that come to me. Can you explain the name Yahweh Shai, Paleo Hebrew or Yiddish? I have no idea. They say that is the correct pronunciation in Paleo Hebrew, but I don't know exactly where it comes from. But with me, the name, it's not about the pronunciation as it is with the spirit that goes with it. And the spirit that goes with it is a disobedience to the true teachings of the true Hamashiach. It is a teaching whereby it is bordering on the false teaching. It is a Messiah that fosters the false teaching of the teachings of the Hebrew Israelite movement, of the One West Hebrew Israelite movement. All right? What is the name above all names? Do you have any teachings on same? No. This Babylon system is really controlling people more and more. Is it righteous to judge? Well, Edgar C., you're asking some questions here. Is it righteous to judge? And who do you judge? This is a whole teaching by itself. You are righteous to judge. It says when you judge, you must judge righteous judgment. If you are judging, make sure that your heart is clean or you are clean. Make sure that whatever you are speaking about, that you are not being a hypocrite, that you yourself are not guilty of it as well. So when you judge, make sure that you make a right call. Righteous judgment. All right. I'm married to a Gentile who is not a believer. What does the scripture say about this? I'm married to a Gentile who is not a believer. Man, that is really difficult. We have some teachings on mixed race marriage. I think we even have a playlist on that. You can check our playlist for one on mingled seed and mixed race marriage. We spoke about it there. Yeah. All right. Yeah, so yeah, is my judge. Just check out our playlist. Because the time is actually going up to 3 o'clock. I can't really.
Vocal compression can sound way better.
Let me see if I can go there quickly enough. Yeah, I'm trying to find the playlist. It's so hard to find. Yeah, this playlist is about mixing of seed. So I don't know if you'll get something out of it. Mixing seed. That playlist is about mixing seed. I don't know if you get something out of it. Can you baptize yourself if you can't find believers? If I could not find a believer, if I could not find someone to do it, I would probably do that. I'm not telling you to do anything. When you hear me say these things, I'm telling you what I would do, not telling you what you should do. Yeah? But wherever you are, you must be able to try to find believers. Do that first, and if it all fails, then. All right. Someone asked, where is Zion? It's not so simplistic, yeah? Go and check out our playlist about our Flee Babylon playlist. You might get something out of that. All right? We do not believe in spoon feeding people. You just come and you ask a question and you just get everything. You have to dig. It took us years of receiving revelations, years and years of revelation after revelation. You have to seek for yourself. We give you the foundation on which to seek. We do not give you everything. All right? Someone asked if I got on the plane and moved to South Africa, would your assembly help me get settled? It is the Most High who does all of this. I cannot say what we will do. The Most High does his thing. When the Most High works, he works with us and with our Ruach, with the Ruach Mashiach. All right? So we are not closed to people, but it's what the Most High's will actually is. Through prayer, I have declared to Yahweh of my covenant with a lady to be my wife. She was with me during that prayer to declare it to Yahuwah. Do we still marry in ways of the flesh also? Yes, you marry in the flesh because you are still in the midst of Babylon. But to do their way of marrying. When I say do it their way, they ask you to get a marriage certificate and all of that, by all means. But to marry with their pastors and such, I would not suggest anyone do that. Do it according to the scriptures. If you want to see how marriage was conducted, go to the book of Tobit and you will see a set apart marriage, how it was conducted. And by the way, SB Fid, are you an Israelite and is that woman an Israelite? Because if she is a Gentile, that is a problem at this time. When our eyes are opened, we must not go back into the sins of our fathers. Our fathers married all sorts of women and all sorts of nations. That was anger to the Most High. And it was sin to the Most High for us to take women from the nations. Now that we have awakened to who we are, there is no way under heaven we should be taking someone from another nation as wife. All right. Someone is asking, when is the Passover? Is it April 12th? We are not over in the West. We have asked our way to Zion, and the Most High is pointing us to Zion. And one of the things that the Most High has pointed out is that his land is in the southern part of the world. The time zones are flipped from the land of our captivity, the land of the north. So we are in the lands of the south, in which the time zones are flipped. So our Passover was in October. So now we are looking to the Feast of Trumpets, the Day of Trumpets, which is coming up about the 30th of March or something like that of this month here. Everything is opposite. Right? All right. So I cannot answer about that Passover in the top of the world there, because that is abominable. Because the Passover, you see, now that the Most High has shown us where Zion is, we again realize that everybody over that side of the world is in error. Because they are keeping a northern, quote-unquote, hemisphere Passover. And the land was in the south. And we did a teaching on our website. Where is it? Let me get that teaching. That shows you that when you are keeping the Passover must be kept based on the time, one time that is in the land. One standard of keeping the Passover that the Most High gave us. It's not keeping it anywhere you are at the time when you are. So, it's Abib, it's spring in the northern hemisphere. No, what taking this teaching here, it is an audio. Listen to this teaching here on when is Passover season, coming from our website. I just posted it. Listen to this teaching and you will see that, I don't know, the Most High has given us, boy, a charge here. Everything that we put out, people are going to go, no, it's not so. Most High has given us a charge to show you the truth. One of the truth is, you are keeping Northern Hemisphere Passover. If the land is in the south, as we do know and believe, then the timekeeping is from this time. It is not Passover that is coming up. It is trumpets that is coming up. Then atonement. Then tabernacles. So it is the season of tabernacles that is coming up, not the season of the Passover. All right? Sounds like if you have a calendar, if you go on our website, everything is on. People, you see that website, justaword.org, just go there. That's all. Anything you want to know about us, from us, just go there. The search engine there is good. Just put in what you want to search for and it will come up. The home page has the feasts that are coming up on it. We have scripture calendar. We have a calendar link that links to how we came about the calendar. Everything you want. Anything you want, you can get. Anything you want, you can get. All right. 22nd of March for trumpets? I don't think so. Check out on the website to see what we have. If you keep another calendar, we cannot help you. But if you keep the teachings that we have, then that is the time. All right. So, man, this is a long time we've been here. All right, getting back. All right, the chat on our Zoom is not so. March 15, 29, 25. Oh, on the title, on Jaw Radio. Oh. All right. And my daughter, as usual, with that $1 million question. What if you don't understand the signs he's showing you? If you don't understand it, Ziona, that is why he gave you pastors and teachers. That is why he gives you people to lead you and show you and understand, to give you understanding. He says, I'm going to give you pastors according to my heart that will feed you with knowledge and understanding. So if you don't understand it, you will ask his pastors, his teachers, who he has sent, and they are responsible to give you the understanding. So if you don't understand, you ask those who he gave you the understanding, to get the understanding. All right? So, yeah. right, somebody says lots of information on the website. Yes, and there's not even enough. If I had someone to help me, it would be so much more. I have so much to go on there, but I do not have the time to put it there. Someone says I will be confident that I will have Passover in SA. That would be good. Yeah, March 30th is the day of trumpets. All right. All right. So thank you all for listening and or watching 2 hours 54 on the radio. Thank you all for being here with us, and give thanks and praise to the Most High for his mercies, for his truth. He has been giving us his word week in, week out. He has been faithful. He has been merciful in showing us showing up the lies that we have been told, in directing us in the paths of salvation, in directing us in the way that we should go, giving thanks, praise, and honor unto the Most High, the great Yahuwah Sabaoth, the mighty one of Yasharal. Until next time, do continue to share, do continue to share, everything. In the name of Yahusha HaMashiach, share our words. You see how few people see these words? Yes? Please share it so those who are to see it will see it. Thank you. Much love to you all, and shalom.